Hey, welcome to the House of L. And this week we're going to be talking about episode 8 of the season. I can't believe that it's 8 episodes already. It's called Hostile Takeover. And there's a lot going on in this episode. You can read my recap, obviously. But what really stuck out to me this week was the fact that we got feminism in a way that didn't hit people over the head too much. First, one of the main storylines was the fact that Kat Grant had gotten hacked. And of course, this was all a plot by her, one of her board members who leaked the emails to the press so that she'd get bad press, so that she could be seen as a liability, so that she could get kicked out of her own company. We got to see a female CEO defending her position against a male board member successfully, which is a cool thing to see, even though this part of the story hit it a little more on the head than the other part we're going to discuss. The other great example of a woman in power in this episode, I thought came from our villain, Astra. And it's a very brief interaction between Astra and her lieutenant, who also happens to be her husband, Non. And I made a joke in my recap under the caption of a photo of them together saying that, Kryptonian men don't care if their wives make more than they do. But I really thought that was a very quiet, subtle, but awesome feminist image. That you have this wife who's a general and her husband who's a lieutenant. And not only is he a lieutenant, but he's a loyal lieutenant. Dealing with family the way she's dealing with Kara is going to be difficult. And he's willing to take on killing Kara if necessary, if she doesn't, get convinced to come to their side. He's willing to take that on for her because he knows how difficult it is for her. And I loved that because you don't see that too often. Usually it's the wife supporting the husband in what he wants to do. And it wasn't remarked upon, which was the important thing. It wasn't something that anybody mentioned as weird or any kind of a thing. It just was. It existed. I started this video off with the awesome Beyoncé anthem, Run the World. And there's a reason for that. Obviously, because this episode had a lot of women in power positions, which is very cool. But also because of the reception that Run the World got when it first came out. I remember when that song first came out, and while, of course, everybody's loving it and dancing to it and all of that, there was a contingent of people that spoke negatively about the song because it wasn't feminist enough, or rather, it didn't really talk about the things that are affecting women. It's an anthem, and I think that there's an important place for an anthem. Anthems are important not necessarily because they report things as they are or report things that are true. They're important because they raise people's spirits. They're important because they remind people of the power that they have when they come together, when they come at the world as their best selves. There's power that we can take, and there's power that we already have intrinsically if we remember that it's there. So that song, is all about the girls who do go to college, the girls who take from the world what they want. Because no, it's not going to be given. And the way in which we run the world is that we have this power already. It's already there to tap into, and if we use it, it can benefit the world as a whole. I think that's the function that song serves. And I think that that's when Supergirl is at its best. Showing us a relationship like Astra and Non that isn't remarked upon but just exists on the show is really, really important. Because it shows us a very feminist image without calling attention to it and hitting us over the head with it. It's something that is unremarkable and so shouldn't be seen as remarkable if we see it exist in the world. The important thing about Supergirl is when it shows and doesn't tell. When it just has something exist as a fact of life. When it has feminism exist or a feminist world exist as a fact of life. Well, that's it for the House of L this week. I would love to hear what you have to say about that. And also, just so you know, this episode is the last episode of Supergirl before they take their break. So Supergirl isn't coming back until January. I will be back as well. However, House of L videos will be monthly starting January. So I hope you'll join us for that. And in the meantime, there will always be my Supergirl recaps, which appear on Tuesdays. And you can always listen to Supergirl Radio, which is an amazing podcast, if I do say so myself, which you can listen to catch up on Supergirl Weekly at supergirlradio.com. Till January, I will see you at the House of L.